Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show for episode 2 of what is still currently technically known as the standoff, but technically it's also called the show yet to be named, TBC. I'm here with Sava from Football Heritage TV. Link in the title. Make sure you get over and subscribe there. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe here. How are you, Sava?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Can't think of anything better at 5 o'clock on a Thursday than to be chatting about Tottenham Hotspur Football Club with Mr. Sean Butler from Spurs Talk Show.
It's not like we don't do enough of it, eh? Yeah, just to make a change.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just
never have to prepare for a Spurs show. It's just all there, right? It's all there. It's all there.
Well, listen, there's lots of things. I say lots of things have come up today. Really, it's the end of a couple of stories. First and foremost, we got Dragusin done, but I think we all know we've spoken about Dragusin enough. And just like the life of someone in the Western world, consumerism is a disease. We have already consumed the last bit of news. Now we're on to what is next. And so we're going to be talking about that today. We've also got rid of Eric Dier. He's a here we go. He has gone to Bayern Munich. I forgot to even mention it on my video this morning. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. I was too busy talking about other things. So we're going to talk a little bit about Eric Dier. Is he a scapegoat? Was he as bad as some people say? I tend to think he was a bit of a scapegoat. I'm going to get Sava's takes in just a second. Just before we do, guys, just want to say, please, as always, please smash the like button. Please be nice in the chat. And if you haven't already, get over and hit the subscribe button on the Football Heritage. I'm going to say hello to the members, if there are any members in the house. There is already one. Stratta's in the house. Big up to you, Stratta's. Big up to Drew Zilla as well. How you doing, mate? Good to see you. Big up, everyone. Hope you're all well. Like Stratta says, smash a like on the vid. Goes a long way. Yes, please, boys. Appreciate you doing the Lord's work with the kind of the manifesting of likes. John G, member of the show as well, just watched the 3-minute training vid from Tottenham. Love seeing Van der Ven, but I haven't seen that yet. I'll check it out afterwards. We've also got Martin Knightsbridge in the house, member of the show. Good evening, man. Alpash Patel is also here. Good late afternoon for the show with no name. 100%, mate. 100%. And Phil P is also in the house. Big up, Phil. Good to see you. I hope you're okay. Everyone else as well. I would love to sit there and say hello to everybody, but we have only got an hour. This is a quick fire show. Also, just really quickly, we've got a new member, Gregor, who's got a picture of me. I think. Picture of a pig. I like that. It's a nice. I like pigs. Pigs are wonderful animals. They get a lot of bad rep, pigs. I think they're brilliant. They're intelligent. They're cleaner than you think. And they're hungry, and so am I. Appreciate your support of the channel, Gregor. I really do. Guys, by the way, I forgot to say, I'm really sorry about last night. I did intend to do a member phone-in show, but I just absolutely just fell apart in terms of exhaustion at the end of the evening. So I'm going to make that up, and we're going to do that tomorrow instead. Right, Sava.
Yes.
Let's get straight into it, mate. Eric Dier, here we go to Bayern Munich.
Yes.
What's your overall thoughts, mate? And how are you going to remember Eric Dier?
I mean, first and foremost, he's winning football today. He's won at life today. Somebody messaged me on YouTube earlier in my comments and said, if 6 years ago you had said in 6 years' time, Eric Dier is going to be playing for Bayern Munich and Dele Alli's not going to be playing any football at all, you would have laughed and called them mad, right? Football's a strange game. Look, listen, is Eric Dier good enough for Spurs now in terms of first team, in terms of the style we play? No, he's not. What I don't want to do is I don't want to just slander him completely. There was some times where he did really well for this club. Unfortunately, I think like a lot of the players that end up at this football club, Sean, he's kind of been here a bit too long to the point where everyone gets so frustrated that you stop remembering anything half decent that they've done. Had he had left 3-4 years ago, we would have said, oh, he had some good years with Eric Dier. He was a good utility player. He did the squad proud. But as it is, he's kind of stuck around through a lot of the bad time with Nuno and Conte and Jose. Yeah. But look, I wish him well. I've got nothing against him. He seems like a nice guy. I wish him well. And we move forward. We've got all.
Is it like that guy, you go to a party, a house party or something, and there's a guy that's been there from the get-go and he's been steadily drinking through the night and you've had a good time with him, like he's a nice bloke, but he peaked after like 8 some beers, but he carried on ploughing through, and then he's been there a few hours too long, and he's starting to knock into furniture, starting to spill beer and sausage rolls on the floor, and he's starting just to be a little bit of a mess. And you're going to think and remember him for that side of him rather than the good guy that turned up.
Yeah. It's like, you turn up to the party and everyone's sober and they're looking forward to their first drink, and he's already there, and you're like, you're not seeing this through, mate. You're not seeing this through. We need to get you an Uber home, that sort of thing. Look, he had some good times, and I think the shame for me with Eric Dier is when he was a lot younger and he was in the England team. He was in the England setup, playing centre back, centre mid, whatever. Man United wanted him, all that kind of stuff. You just thought to yourself, what could he be? How good could this guy go on to be? But Sean, I think it's a good case in point, him and Dele Alli, that just because you're good when you're younger doesn't mean you're naturally going to continue that rise all the way through 22, 23 to 27, 28. And look, just stayed here a bit too long. I think he'd be an excellent. I can't believe he's got to move to Bayern Munich, right? But I reckon it's going to be for utility purposes, right? I don't think we'll see him as first name, but can he come out and close games off in the last 20 minutes in DM or right back or centre half? Apparently Tuchel's a fan, so good luck to him.
I'm massively surprised by it myself, but and I think just to kind of round it off, I just want to get your take on whether or not he's been scapegoated. I was on with the Irish Hotspur earlier, and he and Dave and I take a different approach to it. Like, I personally think that, I think there's a bit of a theme with football analysis generally, not Tottenham fans, but just people just generally. If a goal is conceded, then the analysis of who's to blame starts and finishes, generally speaking, with the touch before or the tackle that wasn't successful or the missed header. Now, obviously, if you have unforced errors, and Eric Dier last season was guilty of several unforced errors, just like Hugo Lloris was, and rightly criticised for some of the things. But over the years, I feel like, if a midfielder at the top end of the pitch misplaces a pass and transitions possession in an unnecessary place, and then the ball gets shifted down the field, and then Eric Dier or anybody else in the defence doesn't necessarily get back or stands off a little bit and can't quite recover the ball themselves, then I feel like that's where the kind of regressive or reductive analysis is a problem, where people at the top end of the pitch don't seem to ever get held accountable for their mistakes, but people at the back end of the pitch do. And you could have a striker that misses 10 chances in the game but scores the 11th and wins in a 1-0 victory, and he'll be the man of the match, even though he technically played poorly during the game. But because the 3 points went your way and he got the winner, that's enough to give him the accolades. And I think the opposite happens with defenders. I think sometimes they're blamed for all goals that are conceded when the mistake or the blame should be as more as a kind of a unit, but it isn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, listen, I completely agree with you. I think it's okay to have players that you don't rate. But I do see, I'm not going to name names, but I do see some people that are blamed for everything. It doesn't matter how the goal went in. If they were nowhere near the player that scored the goal, but they are the scapegoat. Dier has definitely been that guy. Dier's the scapegoat for when other players don't play well. Again, I had this a lot last year with in games where Romero didn't play well. It would always be, but he's next to Dier. It was like, well,
exactly.
Hang on.
Exactly. 100%.
In his first year, when Romero was getting all the praise, he was playing next to Dier as well. So, look, I'm not blaming Romero for anything. I'm just saying we can focus too much on that. I think the Burnley game is a classic example. Is when we concede goals with Davis and Royale at centre half, not like we didn't in that game. When we do, it's but look at our centre halves, we're awful. In that game, they were our best two players, and no one wants to blame the players further up the pitch. For me, look, Dier's not great. Dier's not great, but every goal Spurs conceded when he was on the pitch isn't Eric Dier's fault only, right? So I do get what you're saying. I think it needs to be more consistent, but it's the same. The Arsenal fans are doing it now. I think everyone we're worse than last year because of Kai Havertz. Well, it's not just Kai Havertz, is it? All of your other players aren't stepping up as well, but that's the easy
game, isn't it?
It's the go-to. So look, I agree with you. Look, is he good enough? No. Should he be the scapegoat for everything? No.
Completely agree, mate. Completely agree. And look, let that be the end of Eric Dier analysis on this channel. I don't really feel like we ever need to. Listen, I wish the guy well. I hope he goes over and and has a great time in Germany. Good luck with his marriage and his kid. I think he's there's a baby on the way, I believe. Good luck with all of that. I hope he goes and lifts the trophy as well. And no hard feelings, but the time is probably a little bit too long at the party at Tottenham. And but I'm glad he's moving on to bigger and better. Hopefully bigger and better things for him. But let's put an end to Eric Dier. Let's move on to things that are focused about Tottenham now. Yeah, and mate, I want to. The order of doing this. You know what? The order of doing this, I'm going to save the fun bit for the end. So I've got a list of homegrown players we're going to go through, and I want to get your opinion on whether, like, we, loan, marry, shag, kill kind of thing. We're going to play that game a little bit later on. For now, though, I did a video earlier on. There was the links that have been out. Obviously, we're turning our attention, as I said at the start, the consumer lifestyle of a Tottenham fan. We've just got Radu Draggers in. Now we're on to the what's next. And the what's next, according to all the ITKs, is a midfielder. Mm-hmm. We know Conor Gallagher is the name that keeps circling around as a big name. But I don't want to ask you about Conor Gallagher for the minute. We'll come back to that in a minute. I do want to ask you about some of the other links. I don't know if you've had time to look into the Hayden Hackneys, the Dan Neil from Sunderland, the fella from Adam Wharton from Blackburn. Not so much on the specifics of him or of them, but on the idea of going after one of the creme de la creme players from the Championship that's between the ages of 18 and 21, like these guys are. When you look at the midfield that we have at the moment, and you look at the amount of budget it would take to go and get someone mainstream, like a Gibbs White, like a Conor Gallagher, one of those types of guys, and knowing that we also need to go and get something, it's a long question, but knowing that we also need to save budget for the striker in the summer, do you lean into, you're more okay if Tottenham want to go and get someone that's not quite ready for now, but one for the future, like a Wharton, like a Hayden Hackney, that maybe can come in and do what Pape Sarr's done and just, like hit the ground running and be relevant, but also thinking more about in the next 18 months? Or do you think that Tottenham should take 30, 40, 50% of whatever the summer budget is and go after a bigger name, 23-year-old who's ready for immediate impact? Where would you go if you were Postecoglou?
Yeah, I think the key words or name you said there was Pape Sarr. And what I mean by that is we've got the 20-year-old. We've already got the 20-year-old. I don't think we need to go and buy another 20-year-old. We've got the 20-year-old who we've got to build and develop and grow, right? He's a good player, but as we said earlier about, you don't know how players are going to develop. So you've got that. You've got Donnelly behind that, Santiago behind that, who are 18, 19, 20, whatever they are. You've got Divine, who'll be coming back. He's 19 as well. He'll be 20 next year. For me, I'd want to say strengthen from a position of strength. For me, I think if we really want to show what we are made of, and we've made some very good signings in the last year or so. We've made some very good signings. For me, I would like to see them go. The name isn't. I would like to see them go Morgan Gibbs White. I would like to see them go an Eze, an Elite. I'd like to see us go, you know what? We're in a position of strength. What could we be if we just push out a little bit? By the way, I've got nothing against going to bring in a Hackney, a Wharton, a Neil. I've got nothing against that. But I look at the pathway. And if you look at it, let's assume Højbjerg isn't going to be here just because I feel like it's heading that way. You've still got, whatever people think, you've still got Skip, Bentancur, Sarr, Basuma, Maddison, right? You've got those five. Have I missed anyone? Lo Celso, right? Lo Celso as well. And then Kulu also can play in the 10, right? So if you're bringing in one more who's a Hackney or a Wharton, you're 8th, 9th down on the list. Yeah. And if you are, and that budget is being taken away from, because listen, these kids aren't going to be cheap. I still think if you're going to buy them, you're looking at 15, 20 million, because the Championship clubs know now, right? Hang on, you want our best player?
And our homegrown best players.
Right, yeah. So for me, I would like to put a pin in that for a second. I think we've got so much youth. Van der Ven's 22. A Doggy is 20 or 21. Pape Sarr's young. Donnelly's young.
Kulusevski's young.
Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, Porro.
Yeah.
For me, I think this is the difference. And what we've had in the past, where I've been really critical of the owners and the club, is when you've got to that stage where you go, things are looking really good, and we've got a good 11, we've got a good team. Where's that sprinkle on top? Where's that next bit where you go, right, do we go with another kid who, let's be fair, I don't care when people talk about ceilings or generational. None of us know. We're guessing. People right now go, Papa Sarr's going to be world-class in 5 years. He could be. Or he could completely go away and be rubbish. Right. So for me, I don't think we need another one of them right now. I think what we need right now is somebody that you drop in that goes straight in above Skip, Lo Celso. Do you know what I mean? Someone that goes straight in above those players, like a Morgan Gibbs-White, and you go, now we're serious. Yeah. Now we are serious as a football club. And then worry about the summer in the summer. But funds, this is why. Can you get 15, 20 million from Brian Hill? Can you get 15, 20 million from Højbjerg? I said this as well about Lo Celso. People lost their mind at me. Yeah. Can you get 20, 25 million from Lo Celso before their contracts end? And start churning. Players out, players coming in. Because, listen, I'm not, you're more on the finance side of the club than I am. I think we all know that, right? You said it yourself on my stream yesterday. Yeah. For me, what we can't keep doing is expecting the club to just buy. But then whenever it's suggested that we sell a footballer to make money, we go, can't sell him. It's
the one area of our business, of the Tottenham sort of revenue stream that's atrocious. We never raise any money, or very rarely raise any money from player sales. Where I'd like to go on that point then, if you couldn't get a Gibbs-White in now, but you could sell a Lo Celso for 12 million, 15 million. You could sell, like, maybe loans with obligations, right? A loan for Brian Hill with an obligation in the summer. So you lose Brian Hill now. He's not in the squad, but you can't replace him. You loan Lo Celso now with an obligation. So you get a 3 million fee now and 10 million in the summer. Maybe the same with Højbjerg. You know, money's tight in the January window for most clubs. But if 3 clubs came in for Lo Celso, Højbjerg, and Brian Hill, and you knew that you were going to lose all 3, and you might get 10 million quid in loan fees, but you're also going to get about 35, 40, 45 million in the summer, but you couldn't then go and get a Morgan Gibbs-White now. You couldn't get a replacement now. Would you take the hit on squad numbers for the next 6 months to get that? Would, yeah? Yes,
because we've got 18 games. You've got 18 games. And realistically, if I said to you, now, Sarr and Basuma are missing, as far as I'm aware, 2 Premier League games. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, they're missing Brentford at home and Man United away. So if I've now got Basuma, Sarr, the 2 African nations players, Skip, it's your third, Bentancur, right? And I've then got James Maddison's come back. Kulu can play in there as well. For 18 games of the season, am I covered with those 6 for 3 midfield positions?
You think so?
I think you are. I think you are. But it's that trade-off, isn't it? Do you want to say, for example, Lo Celso? Let's be fair. Lo Celso's a decent footballer, but he's never fit. Isn't it? Right now, he's injured again. He's never fit. He's hit and miss when he does play, and he's got 18 months left on his contract. If someone comes in now, what you can command now compared to what you're going to be able to command in the summer is probably another 7 or 8 million. And I don't want to be that fine. I don't want to be that guy that's talking about pennies and millions. But at some point, if we're going to be screaming at Daniel Levy to go and sign players, you've got to make money for outgoing players. Everyone can't go in their last year for 3 million, 11 million, 8 million. 100%. You've got to recruit some money. And I think this is the big thing for me. I think we just need to not be as emotionally attached to footballers, for me. If it's the right move, get some players out, get the money in, and we go again. And I think even if the money's a promise for the summer, but you're not going to get it now, i.e., you can't reinvest it now, because I think that there'll be a lot of clubs right now that are sitting there going, got so many injuries. I could really do with a Lo Celso. I could really do with a Højbjerg. I could really do with a Brian Hill across Europe, but I can't afford to pay 25, 30 million quid for them now. But you know what? I'll do the loan with an obligation should they play 10 games, you know, whatever.
I'd be okay with that, because I think if you don't do that, then they're all running down their contract and they're all going into their last year. I'm not sure if Brian Hill is, but the other two are. And I think that then you're not going to get anything anyway. So for me, I think that there's value in utilizing the next 6 months, especially to your point, when we only have 18 games plus however far we go in the FA Cup, which, given the draw is going to be interesting.
Look. So last thing I'll say on it is, you know me. I think the difficulty is I don't really do the emotional attachment to footballers. I know lots of people were like, oh, Richie and Sonny and Romero and all the Kuti and all. I don't care. Me and you, all the chat, we were here before these players.
Yep.
Right. Before these managers, before these owners, we'll be here after all of those have gone as well. So for me, I want whatever is best for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And sometimes I was having the conversation the other day with someone about Romero. Someone said, if a bid came in the summer for Romero for 80, 90 million, you're taking it. You're damn right I'm taking it. Damn right. You reinvest, you get another player who's probably half the price, just as good. Right. And you go again. And I was like, oh, you want to sell Romero? I said, no, you're not listening. It's not that I want to sell Romero, but this is what Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, these clubs have historically done, is they brought players in, they then move them out for money, for profit, and you go again. And in the immediacy, I get it. People are attached to them and don't want to see them go. For me, if that makes sense, I'm doing it. That's just me. I've got no attachment to footballers. Not in a horrible way. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. If I wake up and they're gone, they're gone. Harry Kane, thank you for everything you've done. Love you. He's gone. People posting every time he scores a goal. He's proper Spurs. I don't care. He's gone. You're not Spurs anymore. So
okay. So I completely agree, by the way. I can 100% agree with you. I think that for me, I'm more than happy to see, especially the players that we're talking about here, the likes of Lo Celso, the likes of Højbjerg, people that are saying give Lo Celso a new contract. Hang on a second, guys. Like, he's played 3 or 4 good games this season in 4.5 years or however long he's been here. Like, I think we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater in our kind of in the idealism of thinking that we've got the player that we once paid 45 million quid for.
Right.
I think that's silly. It's far too early to have that conversation. But with his injury problems, if you have to now weigh up, do you loan him out and then obviously give up the value of a new contract with the option of him going? I don't think he would have any problems leaving. Obviously, his injury is going to make that difficult now. If he's out for 2 months, probably people aren't probably going to kind of want to loan an injured player. So maybe that one's more difficult. But with Højbjerg and Brian Hill, I think there's value to there's currency in what we're talking about. In terms of going back to the conversation around, would you like a young player? Would you like a more established player? I think you and me, and I think most people I've spoken to, whilst I really admire Hayden Hackney, I think he's a really, really top player. And I very much think Adam Wharton, not to the same level, but I think Adam Wharton's very good as well. I don't particularly want us to focus on ones for the future right now. I agree with you, Saba. We've already got Pape Sarr. We've got all these youngsters. Apparently, we've got one of the best youth systems in world football at the moment. So let's allow them to come in and have their opportunity. One of the names we are talking about all the time, though, is, of course, Conor Gallagher.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I've on this channel, I've been an advocate for the transfer, and I still am. I hate the phrase, if Ange wants him, I want him, because I just think it's lazy. But
it's lazy. Yeah. It's lazy.
Have an opinion. And my opinion on him has been, I think he suits the system, and I like the player. I do. I always have, and I think he's versatile. I won't repeat it. However, I've watched the last 3 or 4 games closely that Chelsea have played, and I think he has stank the place out in most of them. Mm-hmm. I think I don't think Chelsea generally playing very well, but I watched him in the cup game the other night. I watched him in the FA Cup game on the weekend, watched him in his last league game. And on all 3 occasions, he was doing the things that the people at Chelsea who don't rate him talk about all the time. Sideways passing, slowing down movements, slowing down progression, and giving the ball away too cheaply. And I wanted to show you this. Mm-hmm. I don't know who this guy is, CFC AZM, but I think he must be fairly popular or whatever on Twitter. And he says here, Enzo and Caicedo, I hope I'm not going to get flagged for this, but I'm going to try it anyway. Enzo and Caicedo win the ball in the final third of the pitch. Then instead of attacking the space before Middlesbrough reset their low block, Gallagher runs backwards and passes to Disasi. Watch the reaction of Palmer and Madueke. Now, Palmer and Madueke are, I don't know if you can see my mouse on the screen, but they're the guys at the back end of the pitch.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can see it on loop here. Conor Gallagher could turn, doesn't, ends up slowing the ball down, giving it away. He says, watch the reaction of Palmer and Madueke, key player for Poch. In the comments, he goes on to say, oh, hang on a second. He goes on to say, tell me what it is that he does, basically, other than press. And there is a never-ending stream here of criticism about him, apart from a few people that are saying, you know, that he brings a lot of value in the press. But in a nutshell, I'm worried whether or not I've got this one wrong, and I'm not necessarily as sure. Now, I'm conscious of having recency bias because I think he's just put in 3 bad performances. Do you rate the player? Do you think he is right for Tottenham? And would you be okay with us signing him?
Look, first and foremost, you'd have to say that most of this, though, the difficulty is this is a player playing in a team that are not playing well. This is a guy playing in a team that aren't oozing free-flowing football, aren't going forward well together, aren't defending well together, aren't picking up regular results. So I think it's difficult to say who's playing well and who's not for Chelsea. Like you saw, Caicedo hasn't hit those heights at Chelsea, but you know what he's capable of. For me, I think the difference is it's amazing what a manager can do for a player. It's amazing what a different surrounding, a feel-good factor, someone putting his arm around the player and saying, do you know what? I love this, and this about your game. The rest of it, I'm going to change. Yeah. I think he's the perfect Postecoglou player because, listen, by the way, let me just caveat this. I like to caveat. I don't like to be misheard. Yeah. I'm not saying he's an amazing footballer. I just think in terms of what Postecoglou likes and what I've seen he likes from his teams, from the pressing, from the hard work, from the tracking back, from the getting the ball at the base of the midfield and driving forward, being available, always available. Yeah, a superb engine on him, a superb engine, which I look at some of ours and go, I don't think they have. Maddison, prone to injuries. Papa Sarr, listen, good player, but again, looks like he could be injured. Like he's got that kind of lightweight feel about him. Bentancur, now a year's serious injury. Lo Celso, not got a good engine on him at all. If we're going to be brutally honest, he's not. Yeah. He's made of glass. Look, the one thing I would say is the fee of the player in line with what you're getting? I don't know. I just get the feeling that's all it is at the moment. That from what I've seen over the years of him, that Postecoglou, for what he wants in his system, I think it would work perfectly. You've got to remember, if he's playing in a team that don't pass the ball backwards as much and he's got better options than what we just saw from Chelsea in that clip, then the pass might go forward. And that's easily trained out of a player. So, look, I've always been adamant, Sean. I would take him. Yeah. I don't think it's happening. I truly don't. I know that the bookies yesterday went, some of the bookies went to 1-1 for him to sign for Tottenham. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't believe that with the problems Chelsea have got at the moment, that they're going to sell their interim captain, homegrown player, the guy that's always available and fit when they've got 14 first-team injuries, to Spurs down the road. I can't see it. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it was possible. Yeah. If it was, I agree. I do agree that the manager can sometimes make of the man, and the system certainly suits horses for courses, all that stuff. I just worry a little bit whether his willingness to pass the ball backwards or sideways will frustrate players. Will frustrate some fans. I can already see in the comments there's a lot of people that, it's always the same with this guy. Some people don't want him. Some people see it. I've been on board 50-50 in it.
Yeah, 100% it is. I've been on board it just over the last couple of weeks. Every time I've watched him, I'm like, I'm seeing what the other side of the conversation, the other side of the coin on him, the other take. I'm seeing more and more of it, and it worries me a little bit. What I also think there is that concern for me. And I don't know if we should be worrying about this, but I mentioned it in my video earlier. Is it like, would you be happy giving £50 million to Chelsea and them then going and using that £50 million to go and you know,
yeah, I don't care about
the
that.
account, and you're not worried about that stuff, no?
No, I think it's the circle of the transfer window. It's the circle of life. Everyone if it's not us, it's someone else. It doesn't matter. That money is going to go in anyway. Look, what I would say is this: there was a stat flying around at the end of last season that Conor Gallagher was. So we're talking about him always going backwards. Was God, I can't remember the exact what it was, Sean, but it was basically he was the more times than any other midfielder went to join in with the attack and get into the opposition box. Mm-hmm. So for me, look, you could say, is it Poch's team selection? Is it because Gallagher's been asked to do a job that probably Lavia might be doing if he was fit? I don't know. Look, I'm not. I would certainly not die on a hill for Conor Gallagher, but I understand why. I think his engine and him always being available every week, I think if he was in a Spurs shirt, I think people would love it, right? Also, what I'll say is that thread you saw there with the Twitter comments.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say to you. All the fans that are now saying you can't get a better player than Timo Werner, all the comments you would see from Chelsea fans about Timo Werner would be as bad as that.
Yeah.
So no, 100%. You've got to
100%. Good point.
You've got to take. Someone once said, "The bitter with the better." Look, so listen. I always think, Sean. I always think this. I always think that sometimes you've got the right manager, the right players, the right chairman, the right ethos, the right stage in their careers at the right time. Poch had it with our 11 that we had back in the day. It all just fit, right? Sometimes you'll never get that again. And this is what separates. Some players can be molded. Other players can't. This is what might separate Poch from everyone praising him to the hill, what he did at Spurs. Since then, look at the troubles he's had in his career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the right moment. And Postecoglou could be the best manager in the world for Conor Gallagher. He could not.
100%.
Don't know.
Well, I know from personal experience, mate. When I went to Australia, I've had so many managers in my career in various different industries. Some of them have brought the worst out of me. One particular guy saw something in me and lent into me, and it changed my entire life, changed my trajectory. And if he didn't see that in me and didn't go and try to get the best out of me, I don't know where I would be or what I would or wouldn't have achieved. But I know for sure I owe that man a lot just for having some faith. So. And having the right words, putting them in the right order to put pressure on me to be the best version of myself in that role. So, having the right manager is everything, I think, for some of these players.
I'm just looking at his injury history as well on Transfer Market, and I can't find a thing. I can't find a significant time but I think they go by if you've missed more than a week due to it. I can't see more than a week that he's had out on the sideline. Wow. He's got a clean record. And sometimes availability needs to be a skill set that is very much needed. Look, as I said, I won't mind if we buy him. If we buy him, I think you've got to remember, this year we have played what? We're going to play 38 league games, 1 League Cup game. So we've got 39 games there. We've had 1 FA Cup game. That's 40. Definite this year, 40. And Man City is the 41st game in the FA Cup. If we don't win that, I'm not going to get into that right now, but if we don't win that, we've played 41 games all season. Yeah. Now imagine, next year we're going to be in Europe in one way or another, Sean. Now you've got 38 league games, plus maybe 12, 13 European games, plus 5, 6, 7, 8 cup games. We're now looking at nearly 60 games of football. Right?
50-60% more games. So you're still going to face injuries, aren't you? You know?
Right, exactly. So it's at times like that, you won't be able to carry Basuma always being suspended, Lo Celso always being injured. You're going to have bodies that maybe aren't sexy. Mm-hmm. Maybe Gallagher's not the sexy guy from a football perspective, but you get him in the squad, and you're going to be bloody grateful when you're playing every other 3 days. You're going to be very grateful. Not you.
Couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. No, like I say, I'm on board with it, and I definitely can see the value and all the things you laid out. I completely agree with. I see the value in him for a multitude of reasons. I also can also understand why people who don't fancy him and think of him as I see people in the comments saying he's Chelsea's Ollie Skip. He's Ollie Skip with a V6 engine, which was very funny, by the way. Whoever said that, you know, I can get it, and it's going to be interesting to see whether I don't. But ultimately, I think it's still a moot point. I can't see him coming.
Agreed. He's 10 times the player of Skip. Let's be brutally honest about this.
Yeah,
he is so much better than Ollie Skip. It's unreal.
Ollie Skip is out of his depth, I think, at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Spurs GCTV, become a new channel member. Really appreciate you, mate. Thank you very much for your support, buddy. And same here for Mark Cook. Really appreciate you as well, guys. Hopefully, I'll get to see you when I finally can stump up the energy to do these fan phone-in show things that I promise you I will do. And Mr. Sinclair here saying Newcastle need to sell. Go and get Isaac or Bruno Guimaraes. Just quickly on that one, you saw their financials and that came out earlier, and the statement that came from their, I'm not sure if it's a CEO or the CFO, whoever it was who said it. It's amazing, isn't it, that they're saying that they're willing to let go of some of their best stars, their biggest stars, in order to reinvest and finance. They don't all this money bags Newcastle that have got a bottleneck because of FFP, because their club doesn't generate anywhere near enough money. The stadium isn't used for other sources. Obviously, those figures haven't included the Champions League revenue, so it'll be different next year. But anybody at Newcastle that you would outside of these two or including these two, would you go and test the waters for anything?
It's an interesting one. I think Newcastle they're a very interesting team. Listen, I like Isak. I do think he's another one of those that is massively overrated. I think Isak's going to be one of those who is a scorer of great goals, not a great goal scorer. At the moment, I don't look at him and think 25, 30 goals. Shush, it's a dog. Calm down. Sorry, let me turn that off. He's seen a dog in an advert and he gets very upset. I don't see him being a 25, 30 goal a season man. I think he's technically very gifted. Very, very gifted footballer. Bruno Guimaraes, for me, is a very good player. I need to see more. I don't think he does enough with the talent he's got.
Would you have liked Anthony Gordon? We were linked with Anthony Gordon before he went to Newcastle, weren't we?
Do you know what? I like the Anthony Gordon I'm seeing at Newcastle. I like the Anthony Gordon I'm seeing. But again, right, here's a great casing point. What we were talking about with Gallagher. Yeah. I looked at Anthony Gordon at Everton and went, I don't know. He went to Newcastle, and when they were fit and firing, you go, oh, this boy's a handful. Yeah. Now, if you asked me, would I want Anthony Gordon over any of our wingers all day, every day, please? All of them. All of them, right? Yeah, all of them. I think he's really, really good. He can go on the outside, the inside. He's direct. He's got that little bit of nasty in him as well.
He's got the 100%. He's got the bite. He's that bite, that nasty. And I think that's such an understated, underrated character. As long as it's controlled, as long as it doesn't get out of control, then it's a wonderful thing. Something that I'm not entirely convinced that certain players, and I'm not going to go into them, but certain players at Tottenham need a little bit more of than currently have shown. But I think, also Anthony Gordon gets back. He's not afraid to get back and help out defensively. He's very willing to get back and provide that assistance to the guy. If he's playing on the left, to the guy who's playing left back, Livramento. If he's playing on the right, he'll get back and help out Trippier. He's very useful player, Anthony Gordon. And I think he counts as homegrown as well. He definitely would count as homegrown, wouldn't he, coming through Everton's academy? But I doubt they'll sell him for the same reason, homegrown, right? I don't think they'd sell him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I look at. Would I take Isak? Listen, by the way, I would absolutely take Isak over Richarlison for sure. I just don't know how much it would cost, and is he that out and out goal scorer? I don't know. I need to see more of Isak. For me, I think he's one of those that floats out of games quite easily. Does some brilliant footwork, does some great bits, but I think he needs to be more consistent. Anthony Gordon out wide, I would definitely take. Who else would I take from Newcastle? I would take
any of their back four.
I would take. Well, I mean, it's not so important now because you've got Dragusin. But
we're good now. We're good.
I would have had Sven Botman.
Longstaff, probably not. Would you take Guimaraes? You take Guimaraes, right?
As I said, I need to see, again, he's another one. Good player. Just want to see more consistency. When I watch them play, I feel like he's another one that I want to scream at him and say, run the game. Get the ball by the horns and run this game of football. He's talented. Listen, sometimes I think as fans, what we do is we take a player's ability and just think that makes them class. You need more than ability. You need the temperament. You need the attitude. You need the application. You need the output. I'm not saying goals, but you need the output. And there's a difference. You watch a player like Rodri. I know I'm going to the other end of the extreme. You watch Rodri runs a game. Like, we're not talking about, he's a good footballer. Runs a game.
He's the conductor, isn't he?
Michael Carrick, for years, wherever he played, that man ran games of football. Guimaraes, all the skill, beautiful footwork. I just need him to control games of football more. For me, that's what I think
sometimes the game. I think he loses his head a little bit. I think he's got a real side to him where he can get frustrated and sort of lose track of what's important in the game and then go after people. Maybe it's something that will come with time, maturity. Brilliant last season. This season, I've not been particularly wowed by him, but yeah, look, it'd be interesting. I was shocked when I saw that the Newcastle guy saying that they've got to sell, or they're thinking about selling, that everyone's open to be sold because they need to reinvest. I mean, just goes to show you that FFP, I think Martin Walton was saying it just now, that when FFP is applied and finally it's starting to take shape, it really does have an impact. You know, for the first time this year, we're seeing certain teams that want to do business that can't. And for Tottenham, it presents an opportunity because Tottenham have been run, fairly frugally over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. We've got a position where, especially with the Harry Kane money sitting on the books, we've got wiggle room. And obviously, if other teams that we're competing with aren't able to go for some of the players, then it's a little bit easier to try and get those signatures. Maybe had Dragusin had the option of going to Newcastle or Arsenal or Liverpool or Manchester United, maybe Tottenham wouldn't have necessarily had it so easy, or would have had to have paid more. There would have been a bidding war, and other things might have materialized. So it is interesting. I want to move on, mate, because I've got 3 more questions for you. And we've got 20 minutes, and one of them is quite long. But guys, there's 850 odd people in the house. First and foremost, Sava's link is in the title of the video, so make sure you get over there and subscribe to him if you haven't already. I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, get over there and subscribe. Also, hit the like button for me. I don't know how many likes we're on. I think we're on about 240 likes, so we're on about 20%, 25% of, or 30% of the number. We should be on about 50, 60. We should be on 500 likes, guys. It's free to do. Helps the channel. If you appreciate the free content, we'd really appreciate you just smashing that like button, and obviously hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Right, I've got the game I want to play, but before we were talking about people with good engines. No, it's not a game, sorry, it's just a series of questions for you. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask you this. Talk about people with good engines.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any currency to the idea about retraining, not necessarily retraining, but adapting Kulusevski into a midfielder? And not just a creative number 10, but with the ability to potentially play, if necessary, as an 8. And before you give your direct answer, let me sell it for you. He has the engine to run. He's got the engine to run all day, right? He's got the engine to run all day long, more than any other player in Tottenham.
Yeah.
He's a good passer of the football. Very good passer of the football. He's strong. He's got great vision. For me, he connects play really well, which I think is necessary. And I think he can get in and he can get in there and challenge and dispossess defensively when necessary. He's more than willing to get back and help out Pedro Porro from the right wing when he's asked to play out there, something we don't see from Brennan Johnson, which I think is a problem and puts too much pressure on Pedro Porro. So I'm just wondering whether or not, maybe, I'm not saying that we need him to literally give up what he's good at and stop playing over there, but if needs must, do you think he could come and sit in there and play as a second 8 and try to kind of slow the games down and control the ball a little bit more than other options we have at times?
Yes. Yes, I do. I do think there's some legs in it, is what you said, or lending myself to that theory. Look, Sean, you know me. I'm not enamored with Kulu out wide on the right. I feel like it completely prohibits a lot of what he's good at. I think when he plays out wide, I think we see good moments from him, but it doesn't look like he's a natural winger, right? So I think you lose that threat of, hang on, the wide man's getting it, he's going to do something. I watched Liverpool a lot in the last few games, and whether you rate the players or not, when Diaz gets the ball, or Nunes or Salah, whichever of them get the ball out wide, their first thought is drive forward, right? Drive forward. Kulu's isn't. Kulu's is very much, let me put on the foot on the ball, bring others into the game. So for me, I do think that there'd be something in that. I think that he's a very good footballer. I've enjoyed him more as a fan when he's been in the middle.
Yeah.
If I'm brutally honest, I think I've made that really abundantly clear that I don't like him on the right. In the middle, I think he's got something to him. But equally, I don't think he's anywhere near as good as James Maddison in that number 10.
That's what I mean. Like, if you had a full strength team, right, and you want James Maddison in the 10, and we don't see Decky as at his best on the right hand side, then you're either going to have to put him on the bench and rotate him with Maddison, or could you redevelop him, redesign him, repackage him into an 8, and then sit in there and compete with a Pape Sarr at times. And if you were to do that, then you don't need to go and spend £50 million on a Conor Gallagher or on a Gibbs White or something like that. You've got the player there that could be repackaged, and then you can go and get more. You can spend more money going and get wingers that can actually do what they're supposed to do, which is drive and terrify the life out of players.
Versatility is absolutely everything, and I think he's an intelligent enough footballer to do it. I think obviously, look, I hate being this guy, but it's context. Depending on who you're playing, what the opposition is, will depend whether or not you could have Maddison in a 10 and Kulu in an 8. If I'm playing Man City, right, or someone of that ilk, or Liverpool, I don't want both of them on the pitch at the same time, right? I'm going to opt for a more Bentancur and Basuma or Bentancur and Sarr type midfield. No offense, but if I'm playing Burnley at home, right? If I'm playing one of these sorts of teams at home, you've got to be able to get away with saying, okay, Bentancur, you sit in the 6, or Basuma, you sit in the 6, and Kulusevski, you're going to be the midfield that links up between Bentancur and Maddison. And I think this is why I think James Maddison for me has been the biggest miss of everyone. Yes, we can talk about, for me, they've all been big misses, but this is why I think James Maddison's been a big miss. I think Kulu's game is worse without him. I think Basuma's game is worse without him. And I think Sarr's game is worse without him. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. James Maddison, for me, we talk about him being a number 10. But what we saw for the first 10 games of the season was, how often does he just stay in that number 10 role? He pulls out wide to the right. He pulls out wide to the left. He comes back to the halfway line, to the right, to the left, centrally. He allows Basuma to have those driving runs through midfield. What he did when he was playing in the number 10, it was somebody for Kulusevski when he was cutting in from the right to bounce off of. So he'd cut in, give it to Maddison, and then go and link up with Maddison. And Sarr, for me, is another one. Sarr would pull out wide left, and interchange with Maddison. For me, he's the link. So for me, I think that you can make it happen. To bring this all back to what you asked, I think you can make it happen. I don't see why not. He's always available, which is a great trait. He's always available as Kulusevski. So, yes.
Well, thankfully, he seems to have put his hamstring issue. Well, touch wood on that.
Yeah,
because he had a bit of a hammy last season, didn't he? Look, it's just something I've been thinking about. I was taking the dog out for a walk, and not one that I recorded. And I was like, when everyone's fit, I don't know where Kulusevski gets in if you really want the wingers to do what wingers are supposed to do, because I just don't think he does. I really love Kulusevski, the footballer, but I just don't think he's great out there. And then when you've got Maddison playing in the 10, does that really relegate Decky to the bench? And I'm like, well, then you've got an engine on a guy, so you really want him. You need him for other reasons. So I was like, well, do you really want to spend 50 million quid on a Conor Gallagher when you might have the perfect player right there that just needs to be, repackaged a little bit? I don't know. I wanted to see what you felt about it, and I think the comments.
I think you've hit a good point. You've hit a good point. I'm really interested to see when James Maddison is fit and firing. And by the way, this won't be an issue. I'll go back to it again, Sean. It might sound boring me saying it. Next year, when we're in Europe, these issues won't occur because you'll have so many games. Right? Yeah. This year, you're playing once a week. When Maddison is fit, I think if anyone would suggest that Maddison doesn't start in that number 10 role is mental. He's the guy.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
The question is going to be, when they're all fit, I'm assuming it's going to be Sonny up top, Timo Werner to the left. Now you've got Kulu, Brennan Johnson. Who plays there? Who plays on that right? Because for me, I'm not enamored with either of them on the right. I think both of them have got their skill sets, But for me, neither of them do enough for what a winger needs to
Left,
do.
for what it's worth, mate. I'm not enamored with anyone we got on the left either. Obviously, Sonny's the best striker and the best winger that we've got. But after that, obviously Perisic has probably played his last game. Brian Hill, I don't think suits the Premier League as much as I wanted it to work out. I think I've shaken hands with the idea. I just don't think it will for him. Manor Solomon, I haven't seen enough of him, but the glimpses we did get, the stats, for what it's worth, the stats on Y-Scout suggest that he's the perfect attacking winger for what we need. But I don't, don't really remember him doing much when we saw him at the start of the season. Be nice to see him come back, but for me,
that's why he's brought Werner, right? That's his guy. He's brought Werner in. That's his guy. Werner's got. There's no point bringing Werner in, paying him 140,000 or whatever it is a week,
and then leaving him on the bench.
And leaving him on the bench. He's got to come in and play immediately. And for what it's worth, I was never a massive fan. I wasn't a massive fan of the signing. Get him in, make it work. Let me sit there and go, I'm absolutely pleased by this.
But he's only alone, right? So he's only alone, and I think it will take an incredible amount of output. One that I'm not sure he'll be able to deliver for us to want to make it permanent. I could be wrong. Maybe if he does just a good job, because it's 15 million quid, maybe we will make it permanent. But for me, I could envision in the summer a scenario where we sell Brian Hill, we sell Manor Solomon because we bought him for nothing. He didn't cost anything, and he's not on big wages, so you could probably sell him for 10, 12 million and turn a profit on him, which I'm sure is right up Daniel Levy's books. Ivan Perisic is going to get released. Timo Werner will be returned back to Leipzig. So all of a sudden, Tottenham that's five wingers that might leave the club in the summer, right? So Tottenham need to go again.
Yeah, look, I've always said to you, I think I've been really consistent with what I've said about our wingers all season. I don't look at any of them and go, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bring it back to my man Ginola, but when I watched my man Ginola play, I was like, oh,
terrifying.
You terrifying.
We've got no fear factor players, have we?
Right. I watch players like Phil Foden play, and I go, God, you're terrifying. You can cut inside, you can come in the middle. Right. I look at ours, and if you're going to take Kulu and Brennan Johnson as the two right wing options when Maddison's fit, both very different players. So you've got Kulu, who for me, very good technically, very good at holding up the ball, but for me, doesn't scare a fullback at all. I don't think he scares a fullback. If I'm a fullback, I'm quite happy to show him inside. I'm quite happy with that, right? Then you've got Brennan Johnson for me, who's the complete opposite. I don't think he's got that technical ability, but he's got the pace. And for me, I think hopefully what we're going to see in the next few years is that pace relates into end product. That pace relates into go and scare your fullback. Because for me, he gets in some decent positions, Brennan Johnson. But again, if I'm a fullback, am I sitting there going, oh my God, I've got Brennan Johnson tomorrow? I don't think you are. So you've got Brennan Johnson, Kulu. We're talking Solomon, Perisic, Richie can play out wide on the left. Timo Werner's only on loan.
He's not a fear factor player. We don't have any fear. Right. Like Sonny's the only person that we have who, on his day when he's running at players, or when he used to run at players, would terrify you. But
agreed.
Like a Salah, or even a Jack Grealish, like a Jeremy Doku, all those sorts of guys. You don't like the fact that they've got the ball at their feet. We were talking about this fella, Sule from Frosinone. You look, go and watch him.
People talk about him. Yeah,
go and watch him. Right, like he's scary with the ball at his feet, and he's a youngster. And Tottenham have been linked with him, or apparently maybe linked with him. I think he's from Juve. Again, the Juve link. I think it's Juve that's on loan at the moment. But I think Tottenham need a winger where you get the ball to him. First of all, everyone in the stadium sort of gets out of their seat, sits on the edge of their seat, and the defense are like, wow. I don't think Tottenham have got 84 wingers, and none of them.
But I don't think any of them are proper wingers. Like I feel like you need that one winger that when he gets the ball, you go, you're going to do something. Now, when you take Doku, for example, don't forget, like Doku's still young, but Doku doesn't know what Doku's going to do. Right?
Yeah.
Therefore, the defenders don't know what Doku's going to do. He will go right, he will go left. And the problem is what we do now in 2023, 2024 style is everything is, but he didn't assist that game, so it was rubbish. You watch, I bet you if you ask any fullback after they've come off a game playing against Doku, I bet they've gone, I'm glad he got subbed off He is a pain.
Of course,
He is a pain in my ass. Like,
Yep.
he is a pain. He will twist me inside out. He's quick and he's young and will grow. But these are players that scare the crap out of teams. I don't think we've got it. I don't think we've got it. And that's the difference for me between being a really good team and a team that want to go and win titles and trophies. When you've got those players, scary. Liverpool have got bundles of them. City have got bundles of them. That's what I think. That's the next level for us to get to, for me.
Yeah, mate, I completely agree. I think that having someone, just one of them, I don't mind having a variety of talent types.
Sure,
like you said, I think Decky and Brennan Johnson are entirely different. So options, but you need someone that terrifies the life out of the defenders, and we haven't got one. And I think if we get one of them in the summer, we will be in good shape. Guys, there's 340 likes. There's nearly 900 people here. We really appreciate it if we can get that likes up to 500. Come on, guys, it's free to do. Just drum the thumb, hit the like, and also make sure you get over to Sava. Link Football Heritage TV is in the title. Go over there and support all the content creators around the Tottenham community, or all the content creators generally. Support everybody. It's free to subscribe. You never know, you might find people you like. Yeah, go on.
Can I just say, someone in the chat made a really interesting comment, and I kind of agree with them, but I feel like you've gone to the complete other end. He said, Barca in their prime, you don't need wingers. I feel like when we're talking about Barcelona in their prime, you're talking about Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Messi, David Villa, or Suarez and Neymar. I think you're going beyond the likes of what we've got in our squad right now to worry about whether Barcelona needed wingers or not. They had the greatest player of all time in their squad, arguably the greatest midfield combo, arguably. And I mean, I don't even need to explain it, right? I think there's a huge difference.
Our system needs wingers. Our system, the 4-3-3 that we play, requires two wingers.
Yeah.
You know, so
and they had Alba and Alves, who are essentially played in the opponent's half, right? So I get it, but it's all started. Oh, Sava's a negative Nancy. I don't know how. I'm asking for better players to win league titles. Listen, I just love top footballers, man. I want a winger that gets me off my seat. I want a winger that I go, oh, yeah, you're cooking today. That's what I want to see.
Couple of super chats, mate, and then I'm going to move on to the last segment of the show. Peb BW, big up, mate. Thanks for the super chat. Says, would either of you take Livramento? No, he's really good player. I don't think we need him. I don't think he's better than what we have, and I don't think he'd come to play second fiddle. So probably not. You, Sava?
I'd take him as a squad player. I think he's a perfect player that can cover both Porro and a doggy. But yeah, I can't see it happening with him just having moved to Newcastle.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, though. And Drew Zilla says, big up, guys. Great show. Appreciate you, Drew. Curious, what would be your best Prem front three players you'd bring to Spurs if possible? Big up, chat. Smash up the like. Smash the like up. What would be your best Prem front three players you'd bring to Spurs? What, of any front three?
Yeah. Is this
on the right
being realistic or?
Oh, it was Dream World. Salah on the right.
Dream. Go on.
Oh, I guess so. Sava on the right. Haaland up in the middle, and on the left, probably, I don't know, one of the Man City boys.
I can't disagree with you. Salah on the right, Haaland up top, and I'd want Phil Foden in there for some balance. I think he is magical. I think he's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, those three. I think we'd win the league if we had that front three. If I'm brutally honest, I think we're winning the league. Yeah, but again, big guns, Sean. The big guns. These are people that win you league titles.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. And one of the reasons why maybe we can't go and get the best talent from the non-homegrown sector is because we've always got to keep one eye on the ever-present issue of homegrown players, Sava, and that is, one of the things I've got a list of about, 15, 20 homegrown players here, and a couple of them I didn't even realize were homegrown until today. So I want to kind of just get your thoughts on every one of them, just sort of 20 seconds, 10 seconds, however long it takes, to say whether you like them at Tottenham and whether or not you think there's any kind of plausibility of it happening. A lot of these names we'll have spoken about before, but we'll go through it anyway. First one up is Tosin Adarabioyo.
Right, you're asking if I would take him.
Yeah, and if you think what you think of the player generally.
I think he's a solid Premier League centre back, homegrown, does a job, lives in London, 6 months left on his contract. I don't think it would be the worst signing in the world if he was going to be your fourth centre back. No, don't think so at all.
Same question then for Lloyd Kelly. Obviously, I don't know. I'll ask you to expand this. Do you think that we need another centre back as well, but for what it's worth, or are we good with what we've got now?
I think at the moment, listen, I think if this season's taught us anything, I think we need another one, but I think the other one will come in the summer. I think, again, I'll keep harping back to this. We're going to be in Europe next year. You're going to need 4 centre-backs minimum. You're going to need 4 centre-backs minimum. Look at Liverpool this year. Case in point, you're going to need 4 centre-backs.
Is Ben Davies not the 4th centre-back there?
I think, again, it depends what your standards are. If you want to win things and if you really want to scare teams, I think at some point you've got to evolve and move on. I think he's good for a stopgap, but people are telling me to up my standards to want to win leagues and trophies. Then we need to up our standards in who plays when we rotate. So I think he's been a great servant for the club. But for me, I think you've got to have a proper centre half. All
right, cross those two off. Samuel Illing Jr., English homegrown Juve winger, left winger.
I've seen him play in bits. I've seen clips of him. I would be really disingenuous if I sat here, Sean, and said I'd love him or I wouldn't love him. Lots of people seem to rate him, but it's very difficult because lots of people seem to rate everyone that we're linked to. So I don't know. I'll take someone else's word on this one.
All right, let me know in the chat, guys, if you think Samuel Illing Jr. would improve Tottenham. For what it's worth, I'm not that fussed about it. I don't really. I'd like, if we're going to get a winger, we want that fear factor. We just spoke about it. I don't think he's the guy. Not a bad player, but it's too important of a position. I think if you add him in, it's just not an improvement. Morgan Gibbs-White, homegrown.
All day, every day. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I really do think this guy's a fantastic footballer who's maturing. I would take him all day, every day. Yeah, brilliant player.
Okay. We would have had this one, Conor Gallagher. So we've spoken about him already, so we'll move on. Tomori.
Tomori. Yes. I don't know why I paused. Yes, all day, every day. Fantastic centre. All day long. A fantastic centre-half, homegrown, already proven he can do it at the top level in the Champions League and winning a title in the Serie A, getting to a semi-final of the Champions League with Milan. I think when they played us twice last year, I thought he was excellent in both games against us. Yeah. Whenever I've seen him, I'm taking him all day. So, yeah, Tomori's a top centre-half. I'd definitely take him.
Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips of 21-22 all day long.
Yeah.
Look, I think if you said to me right now, we're going to take Calvin Phillips on a 6-month loan with no obligation to buy, but an option to buy, then I think it's a no-brainer. Again, he's another player. We know what he's capable of. He's got a great engine, does all that doggy work. I think another player Postecoglou could get the best out of. I think the difficulty is he went to a Man City team that he doesn't suit their style of play. I think he would definitely suit a Postecoglou midfield. But I'd want a try before you buy to see where his head's at and if he can recapture that form. So I wouldn't pay for him right now, but I wouldn't mind the try before you buy.
Okay. Dominic Solanke.
No. Dominic Solanke, no. What is he, 27 years of age, whatever he is? I think he's a pain in the arse to play against. Looks like he should be a brilliant striker. He's one of these that's had a purple patch for the last 6 months, and then everyone goes, oh, my God, man, you should sign him. Spurs should sign him. Chelsea should sign him. Nowhere near good. Again, what are our standards? What are we trying to do? If we want to keep doing where we've been, bring in Solanke. If you want to go and win Premier League titles, City and Liverpool aren't buying players like Dominic Solanke. Yeah, they've not got Solankes in their team. They win trophies. So you've got to set the benchmark. And for me, Solanke's at the right club. I think he's at the right level, doing his thing. Good luck to him, but nowhere near good enough for us.
All right. Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, all day. All
Yeah?
day. Yeah, Ollie Watkins.
How much do you think he would cost?
Oh, loads. Oh, we're not getting him. We're not getting him. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
First and foremost, right, why is the main man at a club who are sitting where they are in the table going to think about leaving? Like, he's idolised there. Villa are in a great place as a football club. I'm not saying we're not, but I can't see it would make any sense for him to want to leave to come to us. But he is the perfect 2024 striker. He runs the channels, he presses, he's got an eye for goal, doesn't mind the odd assist. I think that, there aren't many of him around. I'd take him. I just can't see it.
All right. Here's a player that we've spoken about. I'm not sure. I don't feel like I know well enough about this guy to give an opinion, but Matt O'Reilly.
I love him. Yeah? I've been banging on this guy's drum for over a year now, mate. Whenever I watch Matt O'Reilly, he's head and shoulders above everyone else. Like, not just good, he's head and shoulders. He's powerful, loves a tackle, good engine, scores goals, assists, good pass on him, homegrown. Sorry, I know all these players are homegrown, but I think he's really, really good. And you know what? He knows the Ange system. For me, this would be someone I would go and get. And I don't believe that this would be the most expensive signing in the world. No disrespect to Celtic, but how much realistically you're going to have to pay to go and get Matt O'Reilly from Celtic? 35? 40?
That much, you reckon?
Yeah. No, I'm saying max. I don't know. That's my point. Is you're not going to one of the top clubs in Europe to take him. You're going to Celtic. Like, again, no disrespect, but I think Matt O'Reilly,
according to Transfer Market, Matt O'Reilly is worth 13 million euros.
I can't see they'd sell him for 13 million.
No,
I can't.
25 million, something like that.
Yeah. I listen, really, really good footballer. So, sometimes you watch a game and you go, you've got it. Like just touch, control, pass, movement, stands out, leader. I like him. I really like Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah, okay. I'd have to say I haven't spent enough time looking into him, to be honest. I think I know what you're going to say on this one. Eberechi Esse?
Yeah.
All day, every day, right?
All day, every day. This is where I want to see. If Spurs have got, not now, not in the January window, if in the summer we've got delusion, that's not the right word for it. If we have got ambitions to go on and really, really win titles and push for big trophies constantly. I'm not talking about we've done it this year, so it's a given. Take Arsenal, for example. Eze, Elise, they are the type. Sorry if Elise was the second one on your list, but I'll group them together.
Exactly. He is the next guy, so we'll knock that one off. Yeah,
right. I just absolutely top. These are different players. Some of the others we've talked about can do a job. These are the difference makers in a game where you're not playing well. Might get a ball, beat two men, goal. So yes, sorry. Aspirations is the word I was looking for. Thank you. Yes, aspirations is the word I was looking for. Yes.
All right, same with Elise. But now there's a few players here that I haven't mentioned for a while. And there's a guy here who I didn't even realize was homegrown or would count as homegrown. And I think he is a top player. And I think we're looking for someone in the summer to play rotation with the player, Destiny Udogie. And the player is Anthony Robinson from Fulham.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on him? Would you take him?
I like him. Gets forward, gets back, great engine on him. Always joins in the attack from what I've seen. A few Fulham fans, when I've talked to them on different panel shows, have said that he's caught out of position quite a bit at the back. But I'm guessing in our formation of left backs and right backs are not your standard left and right back, right? They are very much going to join in. So, I would definitely have him as cover. And again, you got European football, you need a big squad. So,
I'm a massive fan of Robertson. I had no idea. I thought he was like Canadian or American or something. I didn't realize he was homegrown. But I just looked up. He came through the Everton Academy. Really? Next one, Lookman from Atalanta.
Ademola Lookman, interesting player. Again, I would take him over Brennan Johnson. I would take him over Solomon. I would take him over Kulu as a wide man. Is he the level? No, I want better. I want better, if I'm honest. If we're going to buy in those forward areas, the next ones for me can't be sometimes players. I think we need, as I've said, that spark. Need that spark.
Yeah. All right. I've got my ticks here. Next one, Mark Guéhi.
Yeah, I'd take Mark Guéhi. Again, experienced Premier League defender. I don't know what else there is to say. I think he's formed a really nice. I think he's formed a really nice relationship with Joachim Andersen.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. Listen, again, I'm not going to rave about him. I would just take him as part of the squad because I'm thinking bigger here than 11. Thinking bigger than an 11. So yeah, I would definitely have him as one of my 4 centre backs.
All right, last 4 for you. Mitchell from Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Another left
take
back.
him. Yeah, I'd take him. Again, squad. Got to build a squad. I think Sessegnon is awful. Sessegnon's one of the worst players I've seen in a Spurs shirt. Ben Davies, I think, has been here for a long time, and for me, isn't really that kind of character down the left. Is he right for Ange's system? I don't know, but from what I've seen of him, I would have him as a squad player for sure.
It's interesting. I've actually got 4 left backs here. So we've got Anthony Robinson. We've got Mitchell from Palace. The next one I didn't realise counts as homegrown is Rico Henry at Brentford.
Yeah.
I think that guy is absolutely class. I think Rico,
whenever I watch
got a bad injury, I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you take Henry?
Yeah, whenever I watch Brentford, I'm really impressed with him. Him and Mbeumo really stand out for me. I know Mbeumo's not in this conversation, but I think he stands out for me, Rico Henry. I think he absolutely murdered Emerson Royale. If you remember, in the first game of the season, he was just flying down that wing. I'd take Rico Henry. Yeah, good player.
And the other one, I think we actually have a £25 million buyback option on this guy. Another left winger, or he can play. Left fullback rather, who can play both sides, is Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about this. I'd like to see him come back to the Premier League and see what he does in the Premier League first. Yeah. I think it's really difficult to tell. He's gone down to the league, and you could say, right, is that his level going down to the Championship? Because he looks brilliant. I watched him the other day, and he looked dynamic. He was involved in everything. But Southampton are one of the best 2 or 3 teams in that league.
Why didn't he force a move? Is what I got question marks over his own ambition. Why was he comfortable sitting and chilling in the Championship? Everybody else got a move from Southampton. He didn't.
Yeah. I don't know, mate. As I said, I think they'll come up this year. By the way, I'd like to see. I'd like to see what he does in the Premier League. For me, I'm going to say no at the moment. Okay. But I'd like to see what he does when he comes up. Because look, with all footballers, you never know. We talked about this earlier. From a young age, how are they going to progress? Do they progress when they're 20, 21? Do they wait till they're 24, 25? You never know. And this is why it's so difficult to talk about. It's why I don't ever do it. Ceilings and all of that. You just never know. So at the moment, I'd say no. For me, I feel like he could just be a bottom half Premiership player if he comes up, but we'll see.
So of those four left backs, then, who would be your number one preference? Robinson, Mitchell, Walker-Peters, or Henry?
Henry, followed by Robinson. Henry, followed by Robinson. All homegrown, right? All homegrown. Hopefully people in the chat understand what we're doing here. We're not just naming players. I'm going, I'd definitely sign him. This is if we're looking at homegrown options, right? Because we are going to have to at some point. We really are going to have to.
And I think we need a left back. I'd like to mix in with Udogie. Because I worry. I think Udogie's got one of those frames. When you ask to run and sprint 100 meters every 3 minutes back and forth, I think that he looks a lot like Reece James in terms of his stature. And I think at some point his body, it wouldn't surprise me if he started to have wear and tear. He's built like an athlete, built like a sprinter. And it's one of those positions that that takes a lot out of your body. So I hope that it doesn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has some injuries in his career at Tottenham, and therefore having someone who can step in when he's out, again, building the squad thing is important.
Absolutely. I'm still staggered in 2024 how so many people constantly talk about this player won't want to join as backup. I don't know. If the last 10 games hasn't taught us anything, we're never going to learn that, Sean.
Yeah.
You can't go into a European season, right, and have just Destiny Udogie as a recognised left back, because Reggie's not going to be here. Sessegnon's not going to be here, right? You can't do that. You've got to have look at Liverpool this year, right? Andy Robertson has missed the whole season, right?
Yeah.
Now, is Tsimikas the greatest defender in the world?
Tsimikas as well, haven't they? Yeah.
Right, and now they've just lost Tsimikas, right? So it goes to show you have to have depth. So all these people going,
and you have to have versatility, because even if this idea of 2 players for every position, if they're 2 specialists, if both of them go down at the same time, then you're struggling, right? So you need players you need a few players at least that are versatile, that can step in if needs must, And I think Liverpool, Joe Gomez, maybe they've just found Joe Gomez's best position, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, again, though, people talking about you have to. Sorry, the last comment from the guy, big up to Reese, has said you have to convince a number 2 to come. They're not. These people are not getting it. You're not a number 2. You've got. Listen, I always get in trouble for saying this, and people say I love City, but they've got to be the benchmark, Sean. Right?
Yeah.
Man City have how many players? 18, 19 of top quality, right? None of those players are second players, right? Every week, that back 4 will change, right? One week, Akanji and Vardy are in it. The next week, it's Diaz and Stones, and one of them's moved to left back and one of them's moved to right back. And then, Mateus Nunes is playing this week. He's not next week. That's how you fight. You cause competition. You have players that come in, rotate. We are so stuck in 1 to 11 that if people really want that mindset of winning leagues, their mindset has to get out of 1 to 11.
First 18 B team. It's all part of the squad.
Has to. Last year at City, Mahrez, Grealish, Foden, and Bernardo Silva, who all occupied the wide positions, all played over 45 games each, whilst rotating. That's how you win league titles. If we're going to talk about backup, that would be if I rang you, Sean, and went, "Hello, mate, you're a left back, right? You're a left back," and I ring you and I say A or B. A is this: "Hello, mate, we really, really like you. We want you to be backup to Destiny Udogie." Right, straight away you're going to go, "I don't know, I'm playing every week here." Or I ring you up and go, "Do you know what, Sean? We've got Destiny Udogie. We really rate him. We've got high hopes for him, but we've got 60 games coming up this season. He can't play every game. We need you. We need your versatility. You might be deployed on the right. You might be deployed on the left, but we need you. And we've got midweek games in Europe, in the Cup. Come and be part of this team that rotates." That's a sale, right? That's the sale, not come and sit on a bench behind number 2.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, mate. Like I say, I'm on board. I think that we need to. There's definitely we got wonderful players in certain positions, but we don't have much behind them. And left back, I think, is one of them. So I'd love to see Anthony Robinson or Rico Henry come in. Don't know if it will happen, but it's interesting. The last name, I say the last one for last, mate, because I think he, for me, represents maybe one of the sort of players that we would look to bring in to do what we want. I don't know if you could say he's got the fear factor yet, but he's certainly got a lot of capability. And that is, of course, Marcus Edwards, ex-Tottenham boy. Any interest in bringing him back if we could?
No, I think we need better than Marcus Edwards. I think Marcus Edwards is okay. Again, next time we buy a winger, I want it to be someone that you go, "Shit, that's good."
Yeah.
Shit, okay. You're a top player. So just for me.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Sorry, mate. We've miles over the top of the hour, so we'll round it off there, guys. There's still 800 people here. Massive thank you to everyone for joining in. Sava, anything coming up on your channel this evening?
Yeah, I've got Spurs Unleashed at 8:30 tonight. So my usual Thursday, one of my big shows. So yeah, Spurs Unleashed at 8:30.
Guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's joined us today. Please hit the like button if you haven't already on your way out. Hit the subscribe as well. And also make sure that you are hitting Sava's link as well, getting over to him and hitting the subscribe. Check out Spurs Unleashed at 8:30 over on Football Heritage TV. Massive thank you to you lot in the chat. You've been all very, very cool tonight. The most of you have anyway. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for Bugsy and I's 700th walk or whatever it is. I don't know.
His poor legs.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone. See you next one. As always, come on, you Spurs.